All right. We'll go ahead and start. And I'm going to go over a couple of little things today. But I don't know how long we'll really run, if we'll be very long today or not. I don't think we will be. Big things that I do want to cover is one, next week will be the last session that we'll have that will count for a grade. I will have a session scheduled the following week, but that's completely optional, and there is no discussion that week, so there's no grade on either one. That will be the last full week of the semester in 2 weeks. So we've got 3 weeks left at this point. 3 weeks from today is final exam day. Your final exams are due that day. Your last test and labs are due on that Monday, May the 3rd, if I'm thinking right. Let me look at dates on this. Yeah, Monday, May the 3rd. So that's the last class day of the semester. And then May the 4th is when y'all's finals are due. Actually, on the school calendar, the 4th and the 5th are finals days, but I've set all of my finals for the 4th, and y'all have had them available. The final exam itself, the lab final, you've got available now. The final exam will be available from the 1st through the 4th. The course feedback at Cisco is available now. You do have to do it before you can do the final exam. If you go take final exam and you haven't done it, the first thing it's going to do is make you do the course feedback, and then it'll go into the final exam. Course evaluations by the college, I believe, have been released also, and those came to you in an email, and I encourage you to complete those for not just my class, but all of your classes. I know in my case, I actually look at the information in there and do make changes on classes based on it at times. I also do know that the dean looks at those for classes. It was in our evaluations, but I think it's been removed from our evaluation again, because they did use the number off of it. But I think that's been pulled, was what I saw when they just revised it again recently. Personally, I like the idea of it in there. The Cisco one really doesn't have any information usable for me from the questions they have on there, so, and they really don't give them the information back to me, so I really don't get to. But it is mandatory by Cisco you do it. Likewise, when I take instructor training classes, I have to do the course feedback also in those. And I will be taking a DevNet class this summer starting in June from them for 8 weeks or so or something. I'm taking an Amazon AWS course that started last week, and I got to get last week finished. And that's what I'm going to work on after I get out of this class today. Also, I believe in y'all's class, didn't I give y'all the Google, did I give y'all the Google things or not? I don't remember. I gave Google assignments, Google Cloud assignments in some classes. I don't remember if it was in this class or not. Yes, y'all need to be getting that done because that is counting as one of your labs in this class. So we are down to the end. Spring fling activities. I didn't get lunch, so sorry. So I gotta have to chill. Because my previous class session was at 11, and Normally it's an hour or less. Today we ran for an hour and 15 minutes. So that pretty well filled up all of that. So do make sure you get those Google Labs done. You were sent the information on that. I would not hold off on them until the last weekend because they will take some time to do. They give you 40 minutes per activity on it, and there's about 5 or 6 activities on each of the 2 assignments that I gave you to do. So it is going to take you some time. Now my experience is that you can do them in about half or less of the time on it. So do be getting those done. So your last assignment, last test are due on May 3rd. Your finals, those your written final, I call it written, but it's not written. The final at NetAcad is due on May the 4th, on that Tuesday, by the end of the day. And your lab final, which is out there in is also due on May the 4th. I will have to grade all of that stuff, and then May the 6th, graduation is in Rome that evening. It's drive-through graduation, and I have signed up to attend it, so that's going to eat my whole evening there, which means I actually get the afternoon off from the college because I'll be working for the drive down there, attending graduation and back. And then grades may be due on Friday morning. Sometimes they are. So I got to get all that stuff done by then. They may not be due till Monday, but I really want to get them in by Friday morning anyway, because that next week is the 1 week we have between spring and summer. And that's one of my few opportunities to take time off from the school and use my annual leave. And I'd like to have the whole week available to me. The other part is, in the midst of all of this, I've also got to get my classes ready for summer. And I don't know exactly what it is. I know what's on the schedule for me teaching, but what could change slightly. You'll need to just email me and ask me on that, Kelly. And then I can answer back on the email on what classes you've got left. And if you haven't registered for summer, any of you, you need to register as quickly as possible. And I can assist you with that. Because we do need to get that in, and we're going to be making decisions pretty quickly now. We've got new student registration getting ready to occur, and as soon as we do a couple of those, we'll be dropping classes that don't have people signed up for them. And I know we were looking at some yesterday, and that there are some classes at CIST that there's no sign up for them yet. So we'll probably be clearing some classes off pretty quickly, but hopefully they'll hold on to them until we get through new student registration, because some of them actually new students may be doing. So Heather, you graduate at the end of the semester, okay? I assume you applied for graduation and all of that, whether you're going through graduation or not. Okay. So that's all coming up. And then I say I got to have classes ready by the 17th for when we start classes for summer. And so I've got to start working on that some now too. And that I'm working on a few other things right along. Okay. Didn't know they sent a congratulations letter out. Okay, good. If you're going through graduation, it's drive-through, because we're doing drive-through again. And that on campus down there, and I will be there watching it because I have to go to one a year, but I'm going to go ahead and do that one this year also. So I'll actually have done two this year, which I think they base on the school year and not on calendar year, but I'm not sure. But the other one's in Dalton, and I should be there in December anyway. But I think somebody had asked me to go to this graduation to see them graduate, so I plan to be there. The only problem is I'm just not sure who it was, but I know I was planning to attend it. All right. So that's that stuff. All right. Any questions on all of that? This week are on modules 23 and 24. Book pretty well covers on what it wants covered on those. 23 gets into endpoint vulnerability assessment. So you're looking at your end devices and doing assessment of what their vulnerabilities are. And they're showing you several ways to do on that and on measuring it on your servers and also profiling your network. And they also go through, look at CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System, which is a way to measure your vulnerabilities and risk on your endpoint devices. And that's been a thing that's been updated several times, and they go through and teach you on that. And the main thing in that chapter of 23 is they're just showing you about learning which protocols you need turned off and such, and blocking them, because that's good ways for hackers to get into your network or machines, and about measuring these vulnerabilities and doing that type measurement. So that's the type of information they're going through in chapter 23. 24 looks at your protocols, and that you're going to be looking at, I may have just told you wrong on 23. Because 23 is looking at your vulnerabilities and your measurement of it, and then how much money do you really want to spend, and how much is it really worth to you to protect everything. And so you're coming up with all of that. 24 is getting into the various technologies, your various monitoring ways you can monitor on all of this, your security technologies, looking at your various protocols and how you're going to monitor those protocols, keeping in mind that protocols are important and very useful to us to use the network, but also protocols, if you've got the protocols not blocked that need to be blocked, you've left a lot of openings to your network to having problems on it. So they're spending on this in 24, that they're looking at some of your security technologies. So PAT and NAT get looked at here, which is network address translation and protocol address translation. And those two work really close together. ACLs are looked at, but NAT is used for changing your public addresses into private addresses to go carry across into your inside network, and where you're using doing that conversion there, because quite often you only have one public address and you may have a number of private addresses inside your network. And you can do some interesting things with NAT, because you can actually do, and combined with PAT, that you can have stuff coming in, and you can use by using your port numbers, which gets into PAT, because you can also switch port numbers going across. That you can, and you can combine the two together. So you can have, I have done having that people needed to get into their machines inside the network, which were private addresses. Well, you couldn't access them directly from outside. So what I did was, and they were going to use remote desktop connection. What I did was I changed the port number when they went to use remote desktop connection to connect from outside. Remember, the port number can be assigned on the end of the URL with a colon and the port number. I had it a different port number than the normal 3389, but you really don't want using, you want to be careful with using anyway, because that's a well-known, easy way to get machines and mess with them. So I changed the port number that they came across on the internet on. When it hit to their NAT device, that's effectively their network modem/router, it looked at that port number and said, oh, that port number means it goes to this address. And so it told it which specific address to send it to and told it the port number to use inside. And then it sent the message to the correct machine to remote desktop connection there. And it made it fairly secure for them using remote desktop connection without people being able to get in from outside, because you had to know the correct port number to work with it on there. And so that's what NAT and PAT are doing for you. ACLs, y'all have seen on that before, and in 2451, if you took it, or when you do take it, that you learned how to set those up on the Cisco devices, and that the ACLs actually work as a firewall, and where you say that you're going to allow certain things through or you block certain things from coming through. So very much control on that. Then a short discussion on encryption and tunneling, that you can set up your tunnels, which are actually going to be your VPCs, virtual private connections, across your VPNs, your virtual private networks, to connect from one place to the other, and that you can do that along with encrypting your information, and that will help protect on it. They mention a little bit about peer-to-peer. Be aware, peer-to-peer is a real abused thing, that lots of things get done on it, that if you use peer-to-peer out on the internet, that you better have all your protections up, because there's a lot of malware, etc., put on the peer-to-peer type things. So they mention about, and so with peer-to-peer, some of you may have used it to share music, to share videos, and it's where the stuff's not kept on a central server, but everybody's just sharing the stuff off of their machines in a peer-to-peer network. So it makes it easy for others to get into it. BitTorrent is an example of a file sharing network that is a peer-to-peer network, and that's used, and the dark web actually gets into using some of that also. Bitcoin is also a peer-to-peer operation where you've got that distributed database ledger to it, using blockchain across on it, and how it's all kept up with. So peer-to-peer is used a good bit out there. Load balancing gets into where we're keeping our traffic split between different parts of the network so that one part doesn't bog down on too much traffic dealing with whatever, that we've got ways for it to be distributed out. You can do load balancing on all kinds of things on your network and distribute that out. So they give you an example in terms of DNS and showing you on that one. But the load balancing also is very important when you're getting out there doing cloud stuff also, that you want to set load balancing up there also, so that you don't have too much traffic server work being done by certain segments or by certain servers, that if it starts getting to be too much there, that you distribute it out. The other part is, as a security person, you want to be watching it to make sure that you don't have suspicious traffic occurring on there that's eating up all your bandwidth and everything, of what do you need to be blocking out. So that's a real quick overview on those two. Have y'all got any questions for me on this type of stuff today? And that this week, let me look at the calendar real quick. You do have a test this week on 21 through 23. That is due next Monday. And then you still got 4 more modules. I've got all but the last PowerPoint out there for you now in course documents. The module 28 one, I've still got to finish ADAing it for you, and I'll have it out there. Should have it out there in the next couple of days. Last night I went home and went to bed a little bit earlier, although that was after 9 o'clock when I went to bed, so it wasn't real early. And I've got a pile of stuff to do, so I'm probably going to work on some stuff tonight. I'm going to go bicycle riding, catch my dinner, and then hopefully get caught on a few things. So I know I got to do some work on Kiwanis websites, and I've also got Kiwanis Bulletin to mail out, and I need to get y'all's Module 28 PowerPoint finished, ADAing it, and that takes a little bit of time and such. So I've got a few things to try to get through on and finish up, along with some other things I need to work on a little bit also. So, but do be aware on these due dates coming up, because we are coming down to the end on that. All right, so it looks like y'all are all content on questions, so I don't have a problem with finishing this one up a little bit earlier, because I ran, like I say, I ran over on the other one in the Cisco one, and that they were looking at TCP and UDP. UDP obviously took no time, and also the handshakes, the windowing and the 3-way handshake, and then also at protocols in there. So that one took some time. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let me look and make sure. Okay, nobody else joined in. So y'all have a good day. Have a good week. Weather is nicer out there. It looks like, other than tomorrow some point, that it looks like it's a fairly dry week. So hopefully you can enjoy it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get out on the bicycle tonight in the park. I rode last Tuesday night. I'm hoping to ride tonight for about an hour up there, and that enjoy the weather also. So have a good week. Next week will be the last one that counts as credit for you in discussions. And I say I will have one more after that, but whether anybody will attend or not, that one I don't know. But I will meet that week. But I don't do a discussion in the last week for the simple reason that takes time to grade those, and I've got all of the extra work coming in there at the end, and also y'all have got plenty of work to do in the last week also, just trying to get finals also done in the midst of all of that. And if you haven't done the Google Cloud assignment yet, you need to do it. Oh, I saw one other. I need to answer this one real quick. I don't remember who asked this. Somebody said about the Palo Alto. No, there is not any Palo Alto in this course. I did not include it this semester. It shouldn't be showing there in the gradebook. I didn't realize it was showing there in the gradebook. Because I hid it in the assignments, and it shouldn't be showing there in the gradebook. So I will hide that out of the gradebook also. But I wasn't realizing it was showing there. But I gave y'all the Google Cloud assignments instead this semester, and that it just wasn't going to work very easily to get the Palo Alto Cybersecurity Foundations course tossed in, although I would have liked to have. So that should take care of that. So I'll clear that out just in case anybody else was curious like Nicholas on it. And I think that's it in there, because I don't think I'll have, if you have not turned in your permission form yet to me, which I don't think any of y'all fall in that category, I've got to get those, and I know none of y'all do, but I do have a couple of people that have not done those yet. So if you know anybody in the class that hasn't done it, make sure they do get that to me. And I do have to have a form with original signature. They are investigating whether rules may have changed on that. So hopefully in the future, I might not have as big of a problem on it. All right. Y'all have a good week. I'll talk to you next Monday, or Tuesday, I mean, and see you then. So take care, and that's it. I'm going to stop the recording.